Back to the Arbitrary YouTube channel. Today's class will be learning how to make this beautiful BUBU dress with collar and this button design. It has this beautiful slit on the so that it can walk freely, and it's a very simple tutorial. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so I'm folding my front and back together. So I'm just going to show us how I'm going to fold this with the paper. So this is an Ankara fabric and the length is by 45. So I'm going to assume this part to be the 45 inches and this is going to be my yardage. So I'll first fold by my full length. The full length is 60 inches. So remember, this is the yardage size, so you can fold as much as you want because my length is not up to 60 inches. So I'm going to first fold into two. And this is going to be 60 inches in length and this is 60 inches in length as well for my front and back. So after folding into two so that I can measure it easily, I'm going to fold again into four so that I can use my half scale measurement. So I have 2 for front and 2 for back, which is what I have folded here. So after folding like that, next I'm going to do is to take my neck measurement. The neck width I'm working with is 3 inches, so I have 3 inches here, and then for the back my neck depth is going to be 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to connect my neckline for the back first. So because I'm not going to have a joining on my shoulder, I'm just going to leave it here. But if you want to have a joining here, you can just go down by 2 inches and then connect it. This is going to be a kimono, which means I'm cutting the sleeves together with the body. So to add my sleeve measurement, the actual shoulder I'm working with is 8 inches. So I'll mark the 8 inches here. And then for my sleeve, I want it to stop around the elbow area. So my elbow is 12 inches. I have 12 inches up to this place, but this is going to be like a puff sleeve, so I'm going to add this extra 3 inches so that by the time I add my elastic, it's going to be a little puffy. So I'm leaving it at 15 inches, which also doubles as my total Ankara length measurement. So this is what I have. The Ankara is 45 inches. By the time I fold it into two, I'll have around 22.5, which is what I have here. So now I'm going to take my sleeve, my round sleeve measurement. My round sleeve is actually around 12 inches, but remember I'm going to be adding elastic to this, so I'm just going to leave my 12 inches as it is, and this is on fold, which means by the time I open it out it's going to be around 24 inches. Remember that. So I'm leaving 12 inches. If you want it fuller than this, you can make it fuller than this. So this is where my sleeve opening is going to be. So this is like a boo-boo. So it's not going to be a fitted dress, it's a free dress. If you want yours to be fitted, then you need to take your bust measurements, your waist measurements and all. But I don't want mine to be fitted, so here I'm just going to come in by around 3 inches. I'm going to make a curve so that I don't have this place sharp, and then I'm just going to mark this to the hem like this. Okay, so if I want it to be fitted on the waist area, I'm going to use my elastic to achieve that. So I'm just going to connect this now all around to my hem, and then I'm going to cut it out. So this is all I need to do. But before I cut this now, I want to shape my front neckline. So for the front neckline, I want the neck depth to be around 10 inches. So from here I'm measuring 10 inches downwards. Okay, your neck depth can be anywhere you want. So on that 10 inches mark where I measured my neck depth, I'm going to come in by 1.5 inches. Then after coming in by 1.5 inches, I'm going to connect it to my 3 inches neck point. So I'm going to connect it, and this is going to be my front neckline. So I'm not going to cut the front yet so that it's not going to affect my back. So the first cutting I'm going to do is going to be for my back, and then I'm going to cut the side. So after cutting the side, I'm going to detach the back from the front. So for the side, I'm just going to cut along this line and then all the way to the hem. Okay, so I have cut it out. You can see the way I shaped my sleeve, and then I have cut my back neckline as well. So now I'm going to detach the back from the front so that I can cut the front neckline as well. So now this is me opening it up, and then I'm going to refold it again, but in this case I'm just going to have my front. Okay, so now you arrange it well. Your sleeve opening should guide you on how to match them up together, and then after arranging it, now I'm going to cut my front. So now that is well arranged, I'm going to bring in my scissors and just cut along the line that I marked. So if this length is not okay for you, you can increase or reduce it, but I'm okay with my 10 inches, which is just a little above my bust point measurement. So I'm going to connect it and cut it out. So now after cutting it out, this is the shape that I have. So this is my back and this is my front. So for the collar, I'm going to measure around the neckline. Okay, so from here I'm going to measure around carefully, and I'll go and use that to cut out my collar. So measuring it all around now, I have about 29 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a fabric of 29 inches or 30 inches. If you have excess, you're just going to cut it off. I'm going to cut a fabric of 30 inches by 5 inches. So by the time I fold it, I'll have around 2.5 inches. So I'll cut this now and bring it back to show. So I've gone ahead to cut my fabric. It's a satin fabric, and the length is 30 inches by 5 inches, like I mentioned. So this is 5 inches. I just folded it into two and then ironed it. So I folded my 5 inches and then I ironed it. So now I'm going to be sewing this round my collar. So the first thing you need to do at these corners on the front area, I'm going to notch it by around 1/2 inch, which is the sewing allowance that I'm going to use to sew this. So I'm notching 1/2 inch inwards on both sides. This is very important because it's going to make this sewing process easy for you. So after notching my 1/2 inch inwards, I'm going to bring this now and then I'll sew it round the neckline. So I'll take this to the sewing machine now and then sew it all around the neckline. Okay, so I have sewn it all around now, as you can see. So the excess that I have here, I'm just going to cut it off. So when you cut your excess off now and then you fold them together, you can see them lapping on each other. So now to sew them, what I'm going to do now is to flip my Ankara fabric to the wrong side. Then after flipping it to the wrong side, because we have notched it, you can see the way it have opened up. So now I'll take it to the sewing machine and then lay my fabric on top of each other. So now you can see I'm lapping it. I've flipped it to the wrong side, so you just need to lap them on each other after arranging them, making sure it's not stepping on each other. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew it on this notch area. So I will sew it down just straight like this. So I have sewn it round now, you can see. So all you just need to do now is to serge this place or just tidy it anyhow you want. So when you turn this to the right side, you can see how neat the collar is looking. So the next thing I'm going to make now is my slit. Remember, this is a long dress and you need the slit either by the side or the front for you to work well in it. So to make my front slit, I'm going to put the fabric on fold again, and then from my shoulder I'm going to measure to my knee length. My knee is 40, so from my shoulder now I will measure to 40. So I have folded this now and then I measured off to my knee length. So this is where it stops. So what I'm going to do from the hem, you can see it's folded. I'm just going to open it at the center front up to where my mark is. So by the time I open it just in front and I open it out, this is what it's going to look like. So you can see the slit that I have here in front. So now I'm going to cut out my satin so that I can use it to turn it out and then cover this place as well. So after opening the slit, I'm going to measure what I have here, or you can just cut the same 5 inches width that you worked with earlier. Then after cutting my 5 inches width, I'm going to measure from this from where my neckline stop all the way to the hem. So the length is 50 inches from my neckline to the hem is 50. So I've gone ahead to cut the fabric of 50 inches by 5 inches, and that is what I'm going to use to tape it. So now on the fabric also where I have my slit, I also slitted the fabric. You can see the fabric is 5 inches in width and then the length is 50 inches. So at that exact point where I slitted my main bodies, I also slitted the fabric. So you can see that this part is not slitted. I only slitted from the 40 inches, which is my waist, up to the hem. So after slitting it, sorry, I thought my camera was recording. After slitting it, I went ahead to place it right side of the satin facing the wrong side of the fabric, so that by the time I sew it and then I flip it, the right side of my satin is going to be on the right side of my fabric. So you can see how I just placed it now. So right side of my satin, I placed it against the wrong side of the fabric, and then I just sew it all round, all the way to the slit and then back to the other side. So after sewing it now, the next thing I'm going to do is to flip this. Okay, I'm going to flip it up, and then you're going to give this a very good press. So you iron this down, you iron it very well, then you iron it on this side as well. So after ironing it, I'm going to take the other part that I did not slit. Okay, then I'm going to fold it in by ½ an inch, and then I'm going to sew it up to where my neckline stops. Okay, so the excess that I have here, you can either cut it off or fold it in first. Okay, so after folding it in here, I'm going to fold in my ½ an inch seam allowance, and then I'll just make it match up with this so that it will look continuous, like I have it continuous like this from my neckline. I'm going to fold in my allowance and match it like this, and then I'm going to sew it down very tiny. So I'm going to sew it all the way down to the hem. So when you get here also, you fold in your allowance and then you sew it down. On this part as well, you fold in your allowance and you sew it down. So I'll go ahead and sew this now. Okay, so I have sewn it. As you can see, I've sewn it down. So this is the neckline, and then I sew it all the way to the hem. So now you are going to iron it neatly as well. So the next thing to do now is to fold your sleeve. Okay, I'm going to fold it just once because this part is the selvage, so you don't need to fold it twice. After folding it once, I'm going to sew it. So this is just to create channel for my elastic. So after folding it once now, I'm going to sew it and pass my elastic. Then you are going to fold your front and back on each other like this, and then you go ahead and sew it on the side seam. So if you want to add elastic to your waist area to control the waist at the front, you are going to get a 1/8 elastic. So I have gone ahead to create the channel, as you can see. So now to fix my elastic, the elastic is going to be fixed on the front because the back is going to be free. So now I'll put my front side on fold. Then after putting it on fold, I'm going to measure where my waistline is because the elastic is going to be on my waistline. So from my shoulder, I'm going to measure 16 inches, which is my waistline. Okay, I use 10 inches for the length. So now from here, I'll measure 16 inches, and then it's around here. Okay, I'm making it 17 inches. So here, I'm going to measure my round waist divided by 4. So my round waist is 38 inches. 38 inches divided by 4 is going to give me around 9.5. So here I'm going to mark 9.5 on both sides. So I have it marked here. I'm just going to hold this now and then mark it on the other side. So after marking it on the other side, I can now open it out. Okay, so now it's from here to here. That's where my waistline is. Now you're going to cut out your elastic using your waist measurement, and that's going to be half of your waist. Remember I said this is just going to be in front, so half of my waist is going to be 19 inches. So I just deducted 1 inch from that, so I have an elastic of 18 inches here. Okay, remember elastic stretches, so I just remove 1 inch from that. So what I'm going to do now is to take this to the sewing machine, and then I'm going to sew one end here and then sew the other end where I have my waist here, so that by the time I wear it, this is going to wrap around my body, okay, inwards. So it's going to make the front fitted while the back is going to remain free. So I'll take this to the sewing machine now, sew this on these two edges, then after sewing it, I'm going to sew my side seam as well and hem it on the lower part. So I've gone ahead to fix my elastic, as you can see, and then I fixed elastic on the round sleeve as well. So I just place the front and back and then sew it all around. So now, turning it out on the center part, I fixed my multicolored buttons as well. So I just fixed my multicolored buttons on the center just to beautify it more, and this is what it looks like. So you just give it a good press. I'll take this to the mannequin now so that we can see what it looks like. So this is what the BUBU dress looks like. You can see the collar and then the center design that we have there. So you can make this fitted or free, whichever one you choose is fine. And this is the slit that we have on the hem as well. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.